Well, I hope you're all having a very nice weekend. Believe it or not, I've actually managed to get back in on the Commlocks. Pretty successful couple of weeks here. I didn't do anything during the summer, as I pretty much said in my last video. Just too many distractions, and with this build, you really need to have a clear mind, otherwise you're going to end up doing something, or I'll end up doing something really stupid. So anyways, what I've done is I got all the castings painted and let them sit for, geez, a good month before I touched them to make sure the paint was 100% dry. And so with that said, got the speakers mounted in the first two props that I'm doing. There'll be 6 total, 3 pair. So I got the speakers in, got the first stage of electronics in to support the push buttons, which I got those in and sanded down. I'm going to be covering these numerals with decals to put back the white lettering that I can't do because I filled these recesses with epoxy to keep the wire in place for the capacitive switches, which this is where I'm having a bit of a problem. When I got these little circuit boards, the schematic showed a where are we at here? A 30 puff capacitor from the touch membrane to ground. That's for sensitivity, and I foolishly looked at the decoupling cap and assumed that, well, that was the capacitor. It wasn't. So these things, as you can see, are just insanely sensitive. It's picking up just me putting it on the mat. When I get close to it, it's like about a 10 millimeter distance from the pad, and it starts switching. Can't have that because inside the prop, it's just they're right on top of each other. So let me disconnect this and let me move over to the prop, and I'll show you just how wickedly sensitive this is. It's not the end of the world. It's just I unfortunately am now going to have to go in and add the capacitors, which I don't have such low values here in surface mount. I do have them in ceramic disc, which which allowed me to try a couple of different values to find out which was the best sensitivity for the prop. And I think right now I'm looking at 10, but I may even try to go down to 5 picofarad if they have something that low. So anyways, inside the prop, I also have these switching inverted, so that's why all the LEDs are on. And when I touch, you'll see they do react, but you'll see I'm getting mistriggers, which is very unacceptable because they're going to be going into a sound card, and that switching is going to cause the sound files to start playing. So with that said, I'm going to have to get in there and do the soldering inside the prop, which just absolutely concerns me. I've had situations where I've done work inside a prop, and unfortunately the iron got too close, and you can see the scars on like my chariots when I put in new radios. It was a very tight space, and I had to get in there, and it melted the side. I'm lucky it was back far enough to where, and a small amount to where you didn't even really notice it unless I pointed it out to you. So anyways, with capacitors in there, much more tolerant to proximity. So this is 22 picofarad, and it's, when I touch it, it responds not anywhere near, but it does respond to touch. Unfortunately, due to the thickness of the epoxy, I can't have it so sensitive that I literally have to touch even the tape, which isn't that thick, to make it switch. So sensitivity too low here. This is a 10 picofarad, and it's more like about half a millimeter. Yeah, I think this is 10th. I don't have my Oh yes, I do. Let me see how thick this is. Oops, it's 0.5 millimeter, or for you guys in the States, 20 thousandths thick as plastic, and put that in between. So I think I'm going to be looking at about 10 picofarad. I'm going to get quite a selection from DigiKey and play around with the values, but I was hoping to have this done this weekend. Unfortunately, that's not happening. Tiny little steps are my motto, because I rushed on other builds and had disastrous results. I had to go back in and tear the things open. So anyways, progress is moving forward. It's going to be slow because there is no schematics or layout or anything. This is all as I build. I'm finding a way, and then not committing hardcore until I make sure that what I've just done doesn't interfere, because I still have the circuit board for the video transceiver that has to fit in here diagonally, and as it is, the speaker is just right in the corner, but fortunately with some trimming it does fit. I have to land below this lip because that's the lip that the bottom comes down on, so it does fit. I don't like having it like this, but you know, you're stuck when using something else that wasn't designed for this. You got to come up with a way to make it work. So that works. Gives me room in here to put the MP3 player. It'll fit right in there, and this is going to be my push to talk for the video. These will be the buttons for the other functions, volume up and down, and mode, and I'll be putting 3 of these down along here to support that. So that's where I'm at. Stay tuned, and this project is going to get done ×3. So hope you all have a great weekend. Bye!